Trent, I'm about to put it on. Okay.
Shane.
How are you guys doing? Just getting some technical stuff together real quick.
All right. How are you?
I'm good.
Hey, Brother Spence.
Okay, you can hear me now?
I can hear you now, Mr. Spence.
All right, thank you. How's everyone?
Good. Give me a couple of minutes. I gotta go show. Share it on the page. Share it from the church page. All right. Thank you guys for coming on. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. So tonight we're going to just go through the day one of the book Reset. Here you go. And this whole thing is new for me, doing the day by day thing. So what I just kind of wanted to do is just kind of reflect on what I wrote about, and hopefully, I'm not sure if you guys have the book or not, but if you have it, you can kind of reflect back to me as your thoughts, the things that you wrestle with, the things that you may have struggled with as you went through the day.
Just a second.
So hold on one second. Let's see. Okay, so that's what we're going to do tonight. And so for day one, we were in Hebrews chapter 12, Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. And that text read, hold on, let me put it where I can see it. That text read, "So therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. So I talked in the devotion about running a race, and this whole concept, and not concept, but this determination to reset, this determination to adjust, this whole thing to on adjusting and resetting your life. It's not going to be a short race. It's not going to be a sprint. It's going to be more like a marathon. And when you run, as you know, you may not know, but it's hard to run with excess stuff on, because it slows you down. And the race is hard enough. The race is hard enough without things that slow us down. And so the text says that as we're running the race, we are going to strip off the weights that slow us down. And that's kind of what I wanted to focus on tonight as we run the race day by day. What are weights that slow us down? Like if I was running up Mount Rubidoux and I had a 50-pound weighted vest, I would definitely run slower, because the vest is weighing me down. And in order to run faster with endurance, I would take some of the weights off so that my load would be lighter. So I kind of identified weights as things that distract us. Not necessarily sin, not necessarily sinful things, but things that just distract us, that take up our time, that take our energy, that slows us down. Okay. So like if I was to watch ESPN all day, it's not a sin. I'm not sinning watching ESPN, but it is slowing me down on the race that God is running, that God has me running, because I'm focusing all my attention on something else as opposed to focusing on where I'm going. And sometimes we spend too much time, especially in a pandemic, we spend too much time on weights that slow us down. Another thing is our cell phones. I don't know about you, but on my phone, at the end of the week, it gives me a summary of how much time I'm spending on my phone. Okay. And so I think one of the questions, reflection questions that I asked us to identify weights that slow us down. One of my goals is to, at the end of the week, have a lesser percentage of time that I am playing games, checking social media, texting on my phone, because those things are distracting me. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to be on my phone. I'm not saying I'm not going to check Facebook. I'm not saying I'm not, because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to interact with you right here, because this is a form of technology. But what my goal is to limit the time that I am spending on things that is slowing down my race. Okay. And as opposed to that, I'm going to try to spend more time focusing on the work that I have to do, perhaps focusing on family, spending some time with God, praying, those type of things. So identify, today I wanted us to identify some of those weights that are slowing us down. Okay. I'm looking at I said, what are some weights in your life that you can strip off so you can focus on your reset? So I just shared a few of mine. Not watching as much television. I watch television as background. But I find that my background becomes my main focus sometimes because I am watching instead of working. And I don't know about you, I have so many things going through my mind. I'm thinking about something. Then when I go do it, I start thinking about something else and I forget what I was doing. Like I'll walk in the room to go get my computer or something. And when I get there, my mind has already switched somewhere else. Then I get in the room and I can't remember what I came in the room for. That's because I like to pride myself perhaps on multitasking, but maybe I should just focus on one thing at a time. So those are some of the things that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be working on stripping myself of weights that distract me. Okay, now the word in the English Standard Version says that we should lay aside the weights. Okay, and so what that word lay aside means it means to cease what you are accustomed to doing. That's what it means in the Greek. That word lay aside, it means to cease those things that you are accustomed to doing. And the weight are things that serve to hinder the purpose that God has for us. So weights are things that hinder, they're not sin, but they hinder the sole purpose that God has for your life. Okay, so that's how we have to view it. These weights that we are stripping off are hindering the providential path that God has for us. That's why we need to set them aside. All right. Now the writer of Hebrews shifts. He says there are weights that slow us down, and then there is sin that trips us up. Okay, so now we move from things that slow us down to things that trip us up, meaning that we may fall. And now that is sin. Okay, let me just answer this question. I got to answer is, what if you're not sure what your purpose is? That's a great question. If you're not sure what your purpose is, Romans 12:1 says that we should not conform to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of our mind. Then we will find what the perfect will of God is, something to that effect. So look at Romans 12:2, and it kind of gives us a blueprint for finding our purpose in life. We have to not conform to the world, so we have to kind of go against the world. We have to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And then the word says, then God will show you what your will is. A lot of times we want for God to show us his will for our lives first. But God says, no, you need to commit yourself to me first, wholeheartedly. And then I will show you what your purpose is in life. So look at that text. I'm Sister Jennifer. Look at that text in Romans 12:1-2, and see if that brings any clarity to finding your purpose. I'm not saying that's the only way to do it, but that's the one that I can name out the top of my head. So when we go from the weights that slow us down, and then the sin that trips us up. Okay. Now sin trips us. We fall. We know what sin is. Sin is missing the mark. It's not doing what is pleasing to God. It's doing what is not acceptable to God. Those things trip us up. And now, when you're running a race and you fall, what happens? All those people you are running with, they get a head start. They push on while you're getting up, dusting yourself off, checking to see if you broke anything or skinned your knee or whatever, and you're losing ground. So now not only do we have to strip off weight that slows us down, we have to be careful of sin that is in our life. Now, if we look at the text says, where is it? The sin that so easily trips us up. Okay. Another version says the sin, the sin which clings so closely to us. And when we see that word clings so closely to us, it means that sin has a tight control on us. Okay, so this could be some lifestyles that we have, some attitudes that we have, these things that control us. It could be anger that controls us. And what the writer is saying, that trips you up. It could be lust in the heart that controls us. It could be unforgiveness that controls us. And so the writer is saying, if we want to run the race with endurance, we have to strip these weights off. We have to be careful of the sin that is in our hearts and in our minds that trip us up along the way, because the race is long enough. Amen, somebody. Anyone who's older than me knows that this is a long race, and we hope to be in it for a long time. But the race is long. Race meaning that there's a struggle. Nobody runs a race easily. Nobody runs a race easily. There is effort in running a race. So there is always a struggle. There's a constant struggle in running the race. But he says that we should run the race with endurance, meaning that we should be able to continue to bear under tough circumstances. So I said a lot right there. So in our attempts to reset our lives, for today, we were to examine and reflect on the things that are slowing us down. What is hindering us or distracting us from our focus? Could be sleeping in too late. And you know, with everything that's going on, I understand you wanting to sleep in late. I understand that. I understand us picking up some bad habits during the pandemic, but all that is doing is slowing us down. Okay? Maybe we need to turn the news off for a bit during the day, because everything we are seeing is slowing us down. Okay? So hopefully during your day, you were able to identify, I identified a few before you, my TV watching, my engagement in social activity, social media. And there are others, but I'll just leave it. I'm not going to tell y'all everything, but I'm gonna leave it light on that. But there are other things that distract me, that hinder the path that I believe God is calling me to, and the path that I am discovering. I am still discovering the total plan God has for my life. Even though I feel I know some of it, I don't know all of it. And so this reset is a time for us to get our lives back tuned into God for the next 21 days. Because with everything that's going on, we need to hear from God clearly. We need to be able to hear from the Lord with clarity. And one of the ways we hear from God with clarity is to draw closer to God. And James says that if we draw close to God, God will draw close to us. So over the next 21 days, I pray and hope that we will go on this journey together. Maybe I'll be a little bit more transparent as we push on with some other things. But I'm just kind of sharing what I was wrestling with today and what I was working on. I'm not sure how successful I was. I was able to focus a little better today, putting some efforts into stripping off weight and being careful of sin in my life that trips me up. Okay, so I said I wasn't going to keep this part long. I said since we're doing 21 days, I wouldn't keep us more than 21 minutes. I'm not saying I'm going to keep us 21 minutes every day. Some days it'll be 5 minutes, maybe some days it'll be 10 minutes. But I kind of want to go over just a few core things that I think will help us on the journey. If you don't have the book, in my introduction, I defined Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines the word reset as to set again or to renew. So we are looking for a refreshing, a renewing, a setting again during these 21 days. Collins English Dictionary says if you reset a machine or device, you adjust or set it so that it is ready to work again or to perform in a particular function. So that's what we're doing. It's like we are adjusting our spiritual dials. We are adjusting our focus on God so that we will be ready again after 21 days to be better, to be closer to God, to have an ear for what God is saying and all of those things. And it comes through a refreshing or a reset. Rochelle?
Adrian said, will there be handouts available along with the book?
I hope so. I don't want to, the question was, will there be handouts available? I will work on that. I will not promise to have 21 handouts, but because it was requested, I will make an effort to have something to show on the screen for you guys. And if you need an email, you can email it to me. Why don't you guys, I see everybody who's on here, but if you want an email or something occasionally, send me an email. Most of you guys have my email address. If not, just put it under the comments section on YouTube or Facebook. And after this is over, I'll go back and check it. Let me just ask on the Zoom. Brother Spence, do you want one? Raise your hand if you want one on Zoom.
I wanted the book if I could get it.
Oh, you want the book, Brother Spence?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get you the book, Brother Spence.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Brother Spence.
Okay, you guys on Zoom, let me know if you want that. But let me also say that I do think, I see it, Dorinda. I see you, Dorinda. Let me also say that I do think that fasting should be a part of this 21-day journey. Today, I fasted from lunch. Since I've been on the pandemic, I've been eating 3 meals a day. And sometimes 4, Rochelle says. So I fasted for lunch. I did not eat lunch today. And so as I progress in my 21 days, I will increase my fast. For those of us who are have health concerns and cannot fast physically, perhaps you can fast from other things, TV fast. How about bad attitude fast? Preferably food if you're not under a doctor's care. Not if you're not under a doctor's care. If you want questions, if you have questions on that, you can always modify. You can always modify. Like if you're on medication, maybe eat a bowl of soup and crackers instead of a steak, potatoes, and broccoli. You know, maybe tone it down a little bit. In those type of ways because fasting involves sacrifice. By no means do I want anyone to get sick fasting. So if you have any concern about it, check with your doctor. But I do believe fasting is a part of, is a spiritual discipline that helps us get close to God, to hear from God and receive clarity from God. And I believe that's part of this could be part of your reset, is because you cannot hear from a full glass of, if you are full with food, you cannot hear from God all the time. Sometimes you have to be empty. You have to be empty. That's why Jesus fasted 40 days in the wilderness, because he was emptying himself before he began his public ministry. And so sometimes we must be empty in order for God to pour into us. And so let's look at modifying those diets, maybe cut out meat, maybe just eat a salad or something like that. But fasting should definitely be a part of your reset. So
They're asking
we-
Rick.
you can get the book from Amazon.com. The link has been posted on my Facebook page, on my author page, on my Instagram page. You can go to Amazon.com and just type under books reset, and it's a green book, and you can order it, and it should be to you in a couple of days, unless you want to order it electronically on Kindle, and it could be you can have it within minutes if you do that.
All of these will be on your, all of these nightly reflections will be on your author page for
Yes.
people to go back if they missed a day.
Yes, if you
'Cause
miss
they're
a day,
asking.
if you miss a day, you can go to social media on my author page, and you can see the video on there if you miss a day. We're going to do this every day, Saturdays and Sundays. We're going to do this every day until the 27th. Okay. And on Wednesdays, because of Bible study, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to work that out. I may do it after Bible study. I may cut Bible study off at 7:15 to keep it consistent. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but we will have it on Wednesdays as well. And so tomorrow, the lesson continues on Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2. Keeping your eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of your faith. So get up in the morning. This is a morning devotion. Get up in the morning, read your devotion, reflect on the morning questions, come back about 6 o'clock in the evening and write down an evening reflection on how you think you did for the day, how successful you were, how focused you were, just whatever the situation is. Write down your evening reflections, and then at 7:14, we'll gather here on this platform and kind of reflect on the lesson. Amen. So you guys have to also understand, I got a lot of platforms going on. So sometimes Rochelle is helping me with questions on social media that I can't see. But I'm hoping that as we move on, it'll be a little bit more focused on my part, and that you can interact with me and we can get something good out of the next 21 days. Amen. All right. So I'm going to let you guys go now. Have a great evening. And I'll see you tomorrow evening at 7:14 p.m. God bless.
Amen.
Amen.